Claire stood before the house, Victorian, imposing, old. It loomed over her, casting a long shadow just like the setting sun. The house was on the edge of town, perched on a hill. Everyone said it was magnificent once. Now it was just lonely. But Claire saw potential. This house, with its peeling paint and overgrown garden, was hers. Inside, dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through grimy windows. She ran a hand along the banister, its smooth wood cool beneath her fingers. Despite the decay, there was a strange charm about the house. Or maybe it was just relief. After all, it was her fresh start. As Claire explored room after dusty room, she couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. But that was just silly, she thought, just nerves. Days turned into weeks. Claire threw herself into cleaning and repairs. She hung new curtains, their bright colours a stark contrast to the gloomy walls. She scrubbed floors and polished furniture, each task chipping away at the house's air of neglect. Yet the feeling of being watched never truly left her. It was always strongest at night. Shadows stretched from every corner, twisting familiar shapes into menacing forms. One evening, while preparing dinner, Claire heard it. A soft thump from upstairs, like someone or something was moving about in the abandoned rooms above. Heart pounding, she climbed the stairs, each step echoing in the stillness. The sound led her to the attic door. It was slightly ajar. A sliver of darkness peeked out, as if inviting her in. The storm arrived as Claire ate dinner. Rain lashed against the windows, the wind howling like a banshee. Thunder rattled the old house, shaking it to its core. Claire sat huddled in the living room, a book lying forgotten in her lap. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the timbers sent shivers down her spine. Then she heard it again, the thump, this time louder, more insistent. It was coming from the attic. Fear, cold and clammy, gripped her. It wasn't just the storm. Something was up there. She could feel it. Curiosity warred with terror. She knew she should stay put, call for help. But something drew her towards the attic door. Maybe it was the need to prove her fear irrational, or perhaps it was something else, something she couldn't quite name. The attic stairs creaked in protest as Claire slowly ascended. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of dust and decay. A single flickering bulb cast long, dancing shadows on the cluttered space. Boxes piled high, covered in dusty sheets, resembled slumbering beasts. Cobwebs, thick as gauze, hung from every nook and cranny. Then she heard it again, a whisper, soft and chilling, seeming to slither around the shadows. Her breath hitched in her throat. It wasn't a human voice. It was something else, something ancient and malevolent. Step by step, Claire moved deeper into the attic. Her hand trembled as she reached for the old pull-string light bulb. With a hesitant tug, the bulb flickered and died, plunging the attic into an even deeper darkness. The only light now came from the occasional flash of lightning through the small, dusty window. Each flash illuminated the room in a fleeting, spectral glow. And then she saw it. In the farthest corner, obscured by shadows, was a shape. A dark, shapeless mass that seemed to writhe and shift with the flickering light. Terror, sharp and cold, pierced through her. This wasn't just an animal, this was something else, something evil. Another flash of lightning. This time, the shape moved. It flowed like ink across the floor, coming closer. Claire stumbled back, her heart pounding against her ribs. She wanted to scream, to run, but her voice caught in her throat, her legs frozen in place. The whispers grew louder, swirling around her, seeming to mock her terror. Then in the next blinding flash of lightning, she saw it clearly. It wasn't a solid form, but a shadow, a writhing, inky black shadow, darker than the surrounding darkness. It had no discernible features, just a sense of immense age and malice. As the lightning faded, the shadow lunged. Claire screamed, a primal sound of pure terror. She scrambled back, tripping over a loose floorboard. The shadow loomed over her, its whispers turning into a guttural growl that seemed to shake the very foundations of the house. Adrenaline surged through her veins. She kicked out blindly, scrambling back, finally finding her feet. Without looking back, she ran. She ran faster than she had ever run before, her lungs burning, her heart threatening to burst out of her chest. Down the creaking stairs, through the darkened hallways, her only thought was escape. Escape from the attic, escape from the house, escape from the shadow. Morning found Claire huddled on her bed. The storm passed, the sun casting long, reassuring rays into her room. It had been a nightmare, she told herself, just a vivid, terrifying nightmare. But the memory of the shadow, the feeling of its cold, malevolent presence lingered. She couldn't stay in the house, not anymore. Gathering a few belongings, she fled. As she drove away, she cast one last glance at the old Victorian house, silhouetted against the morning sky. It stood there, silent and watchful, as if daring her to return. The house remained empty. Locals whispered about the young woman who had fled in the night, driven out by something unseen. The old Victorian house on the hill, they said, was cursed. No one dared to approach it, let alone live there. And in the attic, hidden from view, the shadow stirred. It had been disturbed, awakened from its slumber, but it was patient, it could wait. It knew that one day, curiosity or perhaps desperation would bring someone else to the old house on the hill, and then it would be ready. The shadow in the attic was waiting.